What's up, you guys? It's Layla Lynn, and I'm back with a new video. And in this video, I want to talk about the rise and fall of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, also known as Dr. B, is a life coach, author, speaker, and television personality who first became known from doing Teen Mom, but is now more known for doing podcasts like Cam Newton, Nick Cannon, and Joe Budden. She considers herself a pattern interrupter. Like that's what she's there to do, to break the psychology of broken homes, broken families, to break those patterns and disrupt what people have normalized. But what has happened over the past year, her brand has been tarnished. It's pretty much broken down. After her interview on the Breakfast Club this week, her brand has been broken. And it seems to me, when I did my research on this, and I did several hours of research on this, it seems to me that it all started when she name dropped Offset. When she name dropped Offset, professionals in the comment section, in the audience, professionals watching, antennas went up. Like, how could this person be licensed and do what she is doing? Why is she putting people's business in the street? So we're going to go through the ups and downs of her career, of her brand in this video. But first, if you're watching, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe, click the bell, click the thumbs up button, and subscribe to my crime channel, Crime and Context with Layla Lynn. So, as I said, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and I'm still going to call her doctor for now, even though part of me does not want to. If you know, you know, but we'll get to that. But Dr. Cheyenne Bryant first became widely known through MTV's Teen Mom Family Reunion. Shout out to Grace Report, by the way. Shout out to Grace, who is the queen of the Teen Mom reviews. On that show, Dr. Cheyenne was presented as a life coach, not a therapist, but a life coach, helping cast members work through emotional struggles, parenting issues, relationship conflict, and all of that. That series premiered on MTV in January of 2022. Now, her own public biography says that she studied psychology and African American studies at Cal State Northridge. That was for her bachelor's. And then she earned a master's degree in marriage, family, and child therapy from the University of Phoenix. From her own words, it does seem like she is confirming that she does have a master's degree in marriage, family, and child therapy, and that she used to practice under a license. Like, you don't need a doctorate to practice therapy, you need a master's. And it seems she's presenting herself as a person with a confirmed master's degree and a former license. Now, as far as her doctorate, that's where there is a lot of controversy. Her own bio says she pursued a doctorate in counseling psychology from Argosy University. And Argosy University is one of those universities that's known as a degree mill. Like, you just pay for a degree, basically. You have to do some work, but it's not challenging, and you basically just pay for your degree. Argosy University has since closed, and professionals are starting to question her doctorate, if she even did her dissertation, and if her former licensing status can be verified. So I actually want to start here because, again, like I said, there's a lot of questions about her operating without a license. But I found in July 2023, she did an interview with Conscious Magazine where she said that she wanted a platform, not necessarily a license. In that interview, she said, "I'm not surprised that this is where I landed. I always knew during my master's and my doctorate, my professors would ask who's getting licensed, and everybody would raise their hand, and I was the only one that did not raise my hand. And my professors always said, 'Why are you going through all these years of schooling?' And I said, 'Because I'm going to have my own show.' So it was always about a show. It was always about a show and a platform." She said, "I didn't know the capacity of it, but I did know that my intent was to have a show, not for the celebrity status, not for the ego of it. I already knew that I could obtain that just through my private practice because I'm very effective and this is my purpose. It was more so that I could use a platform where you have millions of folks globally that I can use my tools. I told God, I don't want to be a celebrity unless I can be a celebrity in the sense that people look at me across the world and say, 'You see that woman? She changed my life.'" So you can see where her focus went from helping individuals like privately to helping people on a global scale. So in August 2024 is when she appeared on a Cam Newton. And she told Cam Newton, I agree with her when she told Cam Newton that he is considered high value because of his income, because of his status. He's high value, but he is low functioning in the broken households that he is creating. He is low functioning. But in any case, this is when we first started seeing that she is a disruptor, as she describes herself. Like she's there to disrupt patterns. And Cam Newton was the perfect opportunity for her to disrupt that pattern of single parent homes being so prevalent in the Black community. After that, in March of 2025, she appeared on Nick Cannon, and she told Nick Cannon that he is not emotionally available to all of his kids. He cannot be emotionally available to 12 kids across 6 homes. And her point to him was he can be a provider. He can provide financially for all of the kids, but emotionally, he cannot be emotionally available to a dozen kids in 6 different homes. So, like I said, I agree with a lot of what she said. But what happened also in March of 2025 was her appearance on the Jason Lee show. On the Jason Lee show, she revealed that Offset slid in her DMs.
Offset came in my DMs
to ask for a therapy session. Okay.
So she said Offset came in her DMs to ask for help. Jason Lee refers to it as therapy because it is confusing. What does she do? But she said Offset came in her DMs to ask for help. He was looking for help. And she said, see how I put that out there? Because she was showing Jason Lee that Black male celebrities do reach out to her. So she was using Offset's name as an example. And a lot of people, just from the preview of her episode with Jason Lee, a lot of people thought she was saying he slid in her DMs like he wanted to date her. Like a lot of people were taking it the wrong way. And so Offset sent a snapshot of the DM to the Neighborhood Talk. And he showed them how he asked for help professionally. He said, can we have a convo professional? And she said, absolutely. Now, the conversation never happened. They never had a session or anything like that. But his point was that it was professional, but a lot of people, especially mental health professionals, felt like she was unprofessional for putting Offset's name out there. They felt like she violated the rules and regulations in their industry. And that is when it first started bubbling, that talk about her, is she really licensed? Is she really a doctor? That's when it first started bubbling in March of 2025. Now, mind you, at this point, no, she's not licensed. She has her doctorate, and she said once she got her doctorate, she did not want to have a license. She wanted to have a show. So, because of all of the conversation regarding if she was licensed, does she really have a doctorate degree after she leaked Offset's DMs, she went on Club Shay Shay. In December 2025, she went on Club Shay Shay and she tried to clear it up. So, Shay Shay says Offset was in your DM. And he said, have you revealed anybody else that's been in your DM? And he said, you put anybody on the line? And she said, I love that you said that. Offset was in my DM. And he just posed a question that said, hey, maybe you can help me with something. He didn't say what it was. That's all he said. And because he never followed through, I never followed through. We never did a session. He was never my client. When I shared that on Jason Lee's show, that was not a breach of confidentiality. First of all, because he was not and is not my client. So it wasn't a breach. And he did not slide in my DMs asking for anything that had to do with me. It was very specific to, hey, maybe you can help me with something. He never said what. And so when I said that, I was saying that more to use Offset as an example because I could. Because again, he's not my client. So that's not a breach of confidentiality to say, listen, other Black men, Offset has a following, he's a rapper, he's in the limelight, he's attached to Cardi B. Asking for help is powerful. So again, she's trying to clear up this issue of her possibly violating rules and regulations in that industry. Y'all can let me know if y'all agree with her explanation or not. But online, there was still conversation and still questions, especially from mental health professionals, about her credentials and about her professionalism. So in April 2026, she went on the Joe Budden podcast. And so in the transcript from the Joe Budden podcast, you can see where Joe Budden asked her, where did she get her start? And she said, my start as far as like a therapist, I started off as a marriage child therapist about 18 years ago before I obtained my doctorate degree in counseling psychology. Once I became a doctor of psychology, I transitioned from a therapist to a psychology expert in private practice. And so I no longer practice under a license, and I'm now in private practice. And Joe says, "You're making all the money now." And she says, "Yeah, that's what I'm saying." And then she talks about how a license is just to bill insurance when it's actually for much more than that. Dr. Raquel Martin, a real psychologist, came online and shut it down and explained that a license is way more than for billing insurance.
No longer practice under a license.
And why
Now I'm
wouldn't
in
we?
private practice. I'm saying, and
Yeah.
that's what people don't understand, right? So just to educate some folks a little bit.
Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor of sciences, and podcast host who specializes in Black health and well-being. And I want to break down a clip from the Joe Budden podcast featuring someone who presents herself as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. But before we dive in, I want to make something incredibly clear. Having a doctorate does not mean someone is a licensed mental health professional. You can have a doctorate in literature and be unlicensed, and you are still a doctor. You can have a doctorate in education and hold an LPC, being a licensed professional counselor, and you are a licensed mental health professional, and you are still a doctor, but your doctorate is not in psychology. When evaluating anyone's credentials, it's really critical to look at two things: what their doctorate is actually in, and whether they hold a relevant clinical license. In this case, the person you're about to hear from is unlicensed. I'm going to break down why that matters and why this particular message is harmful, especially to the Black community that she claims to be serving and that I actually serve.
So this month, May of 2026, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant went on The Breakfast Club. She did a Breakfast Club interview and she had to explain herself again, specifically her degree. She already said she doesn't operate with a license. She explained that multiple times, but now she had to explain why her degree, her doctorate degree, cannot be verified. She explained that Argosy University has shut down, so she can't get her transcript. She went to apply for her transcript. She couldn't get her transcripts. Her degree cannot be verified because the school no longer exists. So she considered her options as far as getting her money back because she paid for the degree, she paid for the education. She wanted her money back, but she can only get her money back if she forfeits her degree. If she went from Dr. Cheyenne Bryant to just Cheyenne, like Lil Fizz calls her, oh, that's just Cheyenne. If she went back to just Cheyenne Bryant, then she could sue and get her money back. But at this point in time, it's like her brand, which seemed to be growing, it seems as if she was building a very strong brand of pattern interruption, disrupting the patterns of broken homes in the Black community. I think that's a good platform to stand on. But at this point, it seems like her brand has been broken, and it all started with her name dropping Offset. That's where it all started. Y'all leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant and the way things are turning out for her. Leave a comment, share your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching.